let alone mustache
Brock!
Ran! Sarah!
SJ! What is up?
Oh, not much. Still riding the high from the game that we got to see earlier today. Paul Mullen's back. Never had any doubts. We're never going to lose again. I'll be riding that the rest of the week.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody tuning in right now, we're recording post-game on Saturday after that 4-0 shellacking. Spitball Ideas joining us. Hashtag regular askWxm correspondent. This is one of the OGs on the hashtag askWxm. If you're on the Twitter or the X, you've seen him, you've interacted with him. We are fortunate enough to have him joining us today. He's shortly back from his trip over to Wrexham, where he had a tremendous time. He'll tell us a little bit about that. If this is your first time joining us, I am Ran. That is SJ. That is our special guest, Brock. And what we do here is take that 101 perspective. We look at Wrexham, we look at Wales and the EFL from that beginner's perspective and kind of try to break down the nuances, so the terms and the terminology that you might not be familiar with that people are using, maybe we can help explain that or have good guests on that help explain it for us. Without further ado, this is Teach Me How to Wrexham. Theme music is playing.
4-0. 2-2.
And we're back. Wham, wham. All right. Well, we do have our special guest today. SJ, you know Brock as well, too. You've interacted with Brock.
Yeah.
But we need to know, first and foremost, who is Brock?
Jeez. Where to even begin? I was born at a very young age. No, it's, I, like everyone else, I saw the documentary. Fell in love with the story, and I've been a sports fan my whole life. I played soccer my entire life growing up, so it was a natural fit for me. And I wanted to see or get live updates on the team. So I found the askWxm hashtag and Mark Griffith's commentary, and from there it's just developed into all of this. Interacting with you guys, joining WhatsApp groups, making my way over to Wrexham a couple of times, meeting up with the commentary team and the folks over there. It's been an awesome ride. I'm just thrilled to be able to enjoy this club and everything it means for everyone.
And not to give away or tilt the hat too much, but me and Brock actually met up, what was it, 2 weeks ago now?
When I was still in Wrexham.
Yeah, and we tried to record while he was in Wrexham.
Valiantly, we tried.
We tried everything, and let's just say the Wi-Fi is not as great as maybe you had hoped.
To be fair, I think the Wi-Fi might be fine. I think the issue was more my phone was. I had been there, like 7 days or so, and I think my phone was kind of forgetting that it was joined to the hotel Wi-Fi network or whatever. I think there was some weird software stuff going on. At any rate, the resulting audio and footage is not of the greatest quality.
Yeah, but what we will have coming for you all that tune in is the professional traveler to Wrexham's how-to guide on, or at least his accounting of how he booked his ticket, how he went there, what he did when he was there, where he ate, and all that good stuff. We'll have that coming up as a separate episode. In the meantime, we're going to get to know Brock a little bit better. Brock, you had mentioned how you had played soccer yourself over here in the U.S. for your whole life. You watched the documentary, started following the hashtag, and got into it. How was that your first introduction into the EFL, or were you watching EFL before then?
So, like I said, in America, soccer is kind of the youth sport, right? Everybody plays soccer when they're a kid at the recreational level, at least. And it's more of a babysitting exercise than really, a dedicated youth system for the nation. But as you know, I started playing more and more, and I got into travel soccer and everything. Even at that level, just because you're playing the sport that much doesn't mean you're really following the professional aspect of it. Unlike it would if you're playing like Pee Wee football or 49ers football, or you're in Little League or Pinto baseball. So I never really followed professional game that much. Not, the MLS was still in its infancy when I was growing up, and the Premier League and all that was really hard to follow for a kid in the 90s and early 2000s. So when I got into middle school was the first time that I kind of became really aware of the Premier League. And I had a friend in my town who I played soccer with, and his dad had a subscription to like Sky Sports on their cable box. So I would go over to his house on Saturday mornings and we would watch the featured games. So that's kind of how I got started watching Premier League. And I picked up Arsenal as a Premier League team because I thought it was really cool that they had a cannon on their badge. I thought that was sick. So I followed them kind of right after they were really good. So I got, followed them not nearly as deeply as I've, started following Wrexham, but that was kind of my introduction to the EFL, and from there Champions League and the Cup competition. But Wrexham was the first true time that I got into the lower leagues and really enjoyed watching the other parts of the English pyramid.
And so you're watching EFL, you're getting kind of introduced, but I mean, you follow a Premier League club like the Gunners, like Arsenal, and that's a higher league. I will say a better style of play that you're watching.
Is it controversial to say that Arsenal is better than Wrexham? I don't know if we want to go out that far.
On this podcast, I mean, it might be,
I mean, where are they at on the table?
We could lose our 5 fans. I don't want to do that.
So
we're tied for second. It's just goal difference.
I don't know if we want to go tail of the tape on Arsenal and Wrexham right now.
No. We've been humbled enough.
Kaya Saka
in the last
and
weeks.
Jacob Mendy, who you got?
Well, my only in real life football friend is an Arsenal fan. So when we meet up, I'm like, how'd Arsenal do? Because Wrexham's winning, or like our goal difference. And I mean, obviously the leagues are super far apart. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's our kind of thing we joke with each other about. So.
Well, Brock, what hooked you to Wrexham? Because it's so easy to follow a Premier League team if you're, into football, into soccer. What was the thing that got you, or the things that got you hooked into being a super fan?
So I think that this comes back around to the documentary, right? And it's the those personal stories and the historical context in which the team is placed and the town is placed. All of that, they say it all the time, but sports is storytelling, and the having a story like that, and something that a lot of people can, in terms of things used to be better than they are, and we've been down on our luck for a while, but there's something here worth saving. I think that the idea of a town and a team that deserves so much better for so long is getting that opportunity, and they're taking advantage of the opportunity that's been given to them to rise back up to where they belong. I love that story, and outside of that, I think that this is for me personally, the commentary team obviously is huge. When I was growing up, I'm a huge Chicago Cubs baseball fan, and Pat Hughes and Ron Santo as the radio commentators. For all the players on the Cubs, right, I listened to the radio much more than I watched the games. So I heard and not interacted with, but I was much more familiar with Pat and Ron than I necessarily was with Mark DeRosa or Derek Lee or Sammy Sosa, right? Like they're the star players, but the commentary guys are the ones that are telling me the story. And so I I think Wrexham has a wonderful commentary team. I've gotten the opportunity to meet them each of the times that I've been over. They're all wonderful, wonderful people, and it's really easy to follow a team when you have friends that are uber invested as well. I just think that that kind of personal connection is what put it over the top for me.
And if I'm hearing you correct, Mark Griffiths is the Wrexham version of Harry Carey.
We've talked about this before. I don't think that Harry is an apt comparison for Mark. I really think that Mark is more the he's Pat Hughes in that he is doing the play-by-play, but he has the Ron Santo edge of not holding back when the team does something wrong or the other team does something wrong. I posted this clip forever ago. We'll cut it in. We'll cut it in post. Rand, you'll take care of that. But there's a great clip of the Cubs. There's a pop-up fly ball that would end the game, and the Cubs outfielder drops it, and Ron Santa just goes, "Oh God!" And I feel like Mark contains multitudes, and he could handle both of those. But him, Andy, Shea, Bill, Neil, they're all just so great.
Yeah, no disrespect to Mark's game, because he is much more of a round. Other sides of the commentary spectrum, where he melds things together, where he's not like just one type of personality, because he has the ability to dig into the stats. He has the ability to recall with ridiculous ease matches and games and players from 20, 30 years ago.
This is another thing. We'll talk about this more in the visit episode, but everybody in Wrexham, and I think this is a consequence of how ingrained the game and the club is, to team or to towns in the UK. But everybody that you interact with has that kind of recall. It's wild. It's truly incredible. And I don't know, it's easier to do that with something like the NFL, where you only have 16, 18 games a year. But I can't imagine having that kind of recall, even for, the sports that I follow the most, Cubs baseball, Notre Dame football. Yeah. That level of recall is incredible.
Well, it's a good point, because as an American fan, we spread ourselves very thin. If you're a sports watcher, you aren't watching typically only one sport and only one team. Like us as American sports watchers, we're watching multiple sports, multiple games, and our hard drive space is only so big. So if
we all have that issue. We all have an issue with hard drive space. Every one of us equally, don't we, Rand?
Yeah. This is back-to-back interviews where me deleting interviews is coming back. So yes, I had hard drive space, and I tried to free it up, and I accidentally accidentally deleted multiple interviews. I will not make that mistake again. I promise. I haven't since then. I've learned from my lessons. I've repented. I hope I will be forgiven in the future.
But no, that's a really good point, though, about having to spread ourselves thin. One thing about the football season is it's very long. It runs from summer into spring, and in the U.S., the year is kind of split up into kind of triads of different football seasons, sports seasons. Yeah. So football, basketball, baseball, kind of football in the fall into the winter, basketball from winter into spring, and then baseball from spring into summer into fall. So you spread yourself between 3 teams or 5 teams, college, pro basketball, college basketball, over all those months, and it's a lot to remember and keep track of. Which isn't to say there's darts, there's rugby, there's cricket, but football is just
there a time of the year when basketball, baseball, and football in the States are all going at once, or are they always all separated?
You can have. There's 2 that overlap at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
spring if you count spring training for baseball, you could have all 3.
Yeah.
Otherwise, baseball and football will overlap. Very early parts of the NBA season might overlap all 3. I'm not a huge
some preseason
watcher.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's I mean, as far as like sports go, yes, we have a lot on our plate in the U.S. and it's not discrediting anybody with that tremendous recall in Wrexham. I'm just trying to give us a out as sports fans in the U.S. It's like the difference of having one child and remembering everything that happened in their life and having 20, like Nick Cannon. It's hard to remember all of their names and I guess be present in their lives. But Brock, I wanted to just to honor you.
Ah, yes. I've got my memorabilia shelf and office iteration above me, and I've got Sammy Sosa bobblehead. I have the program, actually the program father-in-law. I've got the Game 7 program from the 2016 World Series.
I was there, not in the stadium. I was in the street, like just right out there in Gallagher Park. I was out there, me and my brother, just
love it,
hanging out. It is $3,000 a ticket. We weren't going in, but
my wife got video of me there, and she played it during our wedding, during our first dance. We had like a montage that was going, and she does have video of me crying on the couch as Pat Hughes is doing the call of the final out.
Yep.
Is that the match or the time that the Cubs like hadn't won it in like 100 years or something?
100 years and some change.
I think it was 106. 106 years.
106.
Yeah. It was emotional. Not to get in too far of a tangent, but Game 3, if you remember from then, me and my brother are driving. We're driving out to Illinois, which is 2,000 miles, and we're driving out, listening to Game 3 in the car as the Cubs are losing it, and we're thinking, why are we driving out? Like we're heading out just to, on our road there, listen to our team lose. And at what point in time, we had the conversation while we're driving, we're like, well, at what point in time, like if they lose, do we just turn around and we're in, we're in Kansas or something? And then we're just like, so we turn around. But we made the decision. We said, okay, no matter what, we're still just going to go out there. We're going to go out there no matter what. And it ended up, working out. It took us 2 days to get out there, but it ended up working out. History completed. Not that we had anything to do with it. Again, the fan did not impact the game, but it ended up working out. And 106 years, lots of tears, which the parallel to Wrexham getting promotion, very, very similar. The emotions were high. Everybody's crying in the streets, hugging each other. You're hugging strangers. And it's just the emotional level was akin to the promotion. And I think as a long-term suffering Cubs fan, it primes you to be a Wrexham fan. I
think that, sometimes people can get a lot of flack. The international fans can get flack on Twitter or wherever, just because you haven't been here as long. You don't know the ups and downs. You don't understand the history or the context of the team. And to some extent that's all valid. But to the other part of it, there are things that mean you can relate to a place, which is, not to put words in Rob's mouth, but he gets that from his relationship with the Eagles, right? He's always been able to funnel his feelings and thoughts of the teams through the lens of his fandom for the Eagles. And, as a Cubs fan, that's the same for me. Like, are my emotions as highly pitched for that promotion game as they are for the long-suffering fan who's been following the team for 40 years? No, I don't think so. Do I 100% understand how that fan feels? Absolutely. I know I have lived that life. I know exactly, what led them to this moment and how they're feeling, and that catharsis when it's all over and you can finally breathe again, it almost feels like. And, that, which isn't to say, me watching that Boreham Wood game, I feel all those emotions, but it's not to say that I am on the same level as all of those other fans. It's just to say that I respect that moment, and I'm thrilled that that we're all very privileged to be following the team at this time, because this is kind of an unprecedented era of success for them. Long may it continue, but we got to enjoy this ride while we're on it.
Mm-hmm. As my mom would say, everybody loves in their own way, but it doesn't make anybody's love worse or better than anybody else's. And we us three, a lot of people, we've come to love Wrexham. It's we all started on our journey the own way. We all have our own story that got us there and got us to the emotions. And some people, this was getting them out of a depression, was following a team that's thousands of miles away, and for some people, a cathartic end to a shared pain of misery and a shared storyline. But you actually got to be there in Wrexham, and SJ was there. You were there for the Bournemouth, and then did you visit multiple times last season, or was it one time?
Me?
Yeah. Sorry, Spitball.
I did not get to go down when they were in the National League. It was planned. I was going to be there for the Bournemouth game. I got a ticket. It was, I had taken the time off on my work calendar, and then this must have been like a month and a half out, because I was about to book my flight. My house HVAC, both my air conditioner and my furnace went out, and my wife's car had to go into the shop and just like wiped out my fun money. And so I ended up giving the Boreham Wood ticket actually to Shay and Bill's aunt. So she got to go to the game, which I was really happy about. But I do have the ticket printed out because it's PDF. So I do have it printed out and framed, and it'll be hung with pride wherever my Wrexham memorabilia ends up going. But
I remember that we were because I think me and you were messaging because we're both up late trying to get the tickets.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
we were.
Yeah.
Because you and I have still managed to dodge each other in person.
As much as possible.
So far. So we'll see how much longer we can keep that up. But to this day, the streak continues.
Yeah, keep the streak alive. Well, okay. So what I'll do is I'll cut my question of asking you from last season and just cut that out, and then we'll move to. So Brock, how was your first trip to Wrexham?
It was wonderful. It felt like I had been there before, almost. I'm posting another link in chat. This one is just, we were talking about, that catharsis, that feeling. And this is a commercial that made me cry. This is for the video game MLB The Show 2012, and it is somebody winning the World Series with the Chicago Cubs in the video game, but it's showing the celebrations of like real people as the Cubs won the World Series, and then at the end of the commercial, it just cuts to a guy sitting alone in his apartment in Chicago, and there's like a tear running down his face, and on the screen it's like the Cubs have won the World Series. It's I just love that commercial. We were talking about it earlier, so.
Yeah, and what I'm going to do is exactly what I did while you were talking. Almost perfect timing when you did it too. I clicked play when you started talking about it. And
wonderful.
You were narrating that. You've watched this a few times.
Yes, I have.
Is apparently.
So two favorite characters. Great question. The priest who is in his office, he's listening on like a little handheld radio, and he goes like this. With the final out, and then there's a hot dog store owner lady who's spraying ketchup and mustard like it's champagne.
Yeah, I caught the priest. I'm trying to look for the hot dog lady. Well, it'll be in there. You'll see it. It'll be. Oh, okay. I caught her too. She was towards the beginning. Okay. Yeah. So great. That is something that people in Wrexham could probably relate to, and that they will relate to. Let's bring it to getting you out to Wrexham and visiting. When you got there, what kind of expectations on your first visit to Wrexham? What kind of expectations did you have before you went in? And were those expectations met, or were you surprised by other things?
So, as far as expectations, I guess I didn't have like from watching the documentary, it wasn't like I had this idea that Wrexham is this gleaming city on the hill, and the streets are paved with gold and everything. In fact, a lot of the documentary kind of focuses on people saying, "Don't visit here. What are you doing? This is, don't go. It's a load of rubbish," like that. And I think the thing that sticks with me to this day is, going into when we arrived in on the train into Wrexham General, and you get off the train, and then the train pulls away, and you're looking where the train was. The stadium floodlights are right there. Like it is less than a 1 minute walk from Wrexham General to the stadium. And so like I got off the train, and boom, there's the stadium. And then, the Declan Swan song, less than a mile from the center of town, quite literally less than a mile, like 5 minute walk, you are in downtown Wrexham. And, everything is just, it's all so immediate. Everything is right there. So, from the hotel, you can walk to Wayne's Buddy Van, grab a sandwich. You can walk to the Miners' Rescue, have breakfast in the morning, walk to downtown Wrexham, hit the Fat Boar or the Bank Wine Bar, like all of these places that you see people talking about online or that have been in the documentary. You can go to Typop and Liam Stokes Massey, Pencil Craftsman. His little shepherd's cart is there. He's an awesome guy to meet with and talk to. But it's weird to frame it this way, because I've met these people several times now, and genuinely some of them are my friends. But you get there the first time, and you have to remind yourself, oh yeah, this isn't a character on my TV screen. This is a real person, who lives and breathes this team. And it makes it very easy to connect with everybody. And there's been I have not had a single negative interaction with anybody in the town that I visited with. They're all really happy that you're there. They are more than willing to talk to you about the football until your ears fall off. It's a great experience, and I'd recommend it to anyone.
Was that similar for you, SJ? When you went over, did you have that kind of idea of like the characters versus people? Was that something you experienced?
Yeah. Going over, it was such a sudden decision for me. And I was so new into football, and having just watched the documentary that I started listening to matches about 5 episodes into the documentary. And so, I went over, and then the first time I saw Wayne, I was starstruck a little, I was just real life. It's in, and there is and plus I'm a little bit shy in new situations, and traveling by myself, I try to, just sure I'm okay all the time. Anyways.
I feel you. I see you.
And so I was hesitant to engage with strangers off the cuff necessarily, but people were just they hear the accent and they're like, "Oh, hey, how are you? What are you here for? What have you done?
What are you doing here?"
Yeah. But in the best way. And people were so
the way that the question's almost always framed is, "Are you here for the football team?" They're always kind of you're not here for any other reason, right? That is why you're here.
I would get the oh, how'd you end up in Wrexham? I'm I'm here for the football, and got the really? And I think that might have part of been because I'm a girl. But then people were like, "I can't believe you came here, and this is great," and and have people that random offer pints and be the turf, one of the matches for the match for the last match. They're going to have a huge event thing. And one of the bartenders was like, "Oh, I'll make sure you get in. Tell them at the door, even if we're sold out, just tell them at the door and I'll make sure you get in." And, and I was like, I don't know how I'm that special. I'm some random person coming over. And it was just so welcoming and inviting. And, I don't know. It was wonderful in a totally surprising way to have just, people you've never met just be like, "Oh, this is wonderful. Let me help your experience be better." Yeah, so I don't know. And there was, like you said, this kind of little bit of preconceived idea of who somebody might be. And like I said, it was like a little bit starstruck. I'd see people, and then I was thinking, like, how awkward would it be if you're in this documentary and then all of a sudden all these people are like kind of invasive, like, who are you? And hi, and I know you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I did try to keep a little bit of a try to keep a little bit of respectful difference. Like, I have a picture taken with Mark, but I didn't really like go up to like strangers who were in the dock and be like, "Hi, you're a stranger. Take your picture with me."
I've had the pleasure of meeting with Mark a few times now, and the fact that you're able to just get a picture and not end up talking to him for an hour or more is frankly incredible.
No. You
call shenanigans on the story?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. We'll see what the follow up is here.
Yeah, no, we ended up going to dinner, and then with
there it is.
him
There
and
it is.
him and Mrs. G, like, we went to dinner.
Bag of programs?
Huh?
Bag of programs?
Yeah, got a bag of programs.
Yep.
And then also, they invited me on Dragonheart, so I met.
Oh,
Shay
yeah. I
and
remember
Bill
that episode.
And
Yeah.
and Mark. Yeah, so we did Dragonheart together and like had coffee, tea, and my case, and hung out.
I'm just ducking out because let me try to. Did it look like this?
Yeah.
Mine's about that size too. Yeah.
Got one of them. This is the one that I read last, but this is Wrexham versus Doncaster Rovers from Saturday, 4th of September, 1992.
Yeah. Oh wait. Cut me for
love Mark.
Yeah, I gotta grab something to show you. Cut me up for a second. Here, let me get up.
Yeah. Oh, so while she's gone, you guys gave me the best idea. So next time I'm over there, and if anybody asks me, like, oh, what are you here for? I'm gonna say Nando's.
Nando's, yeah.
Nando's?
Yeah.
I'm a big Nando's guy.
Yeah, big Nando's guy. I'm trying to cross all the Nando's off of my map. I've got
like
a scratcher
we talked about in
map.
the Lost episode, instead of your 92 list, you've got your 487 locations of Nando's in the UK.
Exactly.
So,
they're like, oh, they have a football team? Huh.
Is there a Nando's in the stadium?
Yes.
I would have heard about it, so I doubt it.
So, when I was over, I also went to Neil's pig farm and hung out and had tea with Neil and went over his house and saw the bowling green behind his house. Like, yeah, I don't want to brag, but it was super cool. And then right before I left, when it's going on Dragonheart, they gave me, I don't know if you can see this. See that?
A bit.
Kind of. It's, yeah. We'll get a picture of it or digital or something, and we'll insert it.
Yeah, so you know how they joke about Captain Whitchurch and all the like them being superheroes. It's a picture. It says "Defend the Dragonheart" in front of the stadium, and it's a picture of them all like cropped in as superheroes. And I was like, I should have had him sign it, and I'll sign it because then it would have made it even funnier.
So walking into the town, sorry, that massive lag spike. I'm so sorry. But walking into town from where I usually stay, which is the Premier Inn and the stadium, one of the first signs that you pass is the sign that points the road to Whitchurch, and this shows how much the commentary has construed. Like, oh, that's where Neil lives.
Yeah. I did the same thing. We were walking, me and Anna, and it's like Whitchurch that way, and I was like, Neil.
Yeah. I took the bus out there, and it's so beautiful.
Oh, I didn't go to Whitchurch. Brock, did you go? Did you make it to Whitchurch?
I have not been. I have not
Okay.
I honestly haven't gotten to talk to Neil that much, which is a shame because I love that man.
He's a cool guy.
But,
Super cool guy.
Yeah, he's adorable.
Well, so when you went in, and I don't want to make anybody upset or anything at all, but what was your highlight from any of your trips that's outside of the Wrexham team, like something from the town, whether it's a restaurant or a place that you went to, etc.?
So the first trip over and my wife was with me on that one, and we went out after one of the games, so tangentially related, but we went out to Hill Street Social, which is a pub in town. It's owned by the same guys who own Fat Boar and all that. and we went there with some people we had met at the game. Shout out Wrexham Bean Coffee Company, and we were there for a few hours and just had the greatest time, just at a pub, with people from the town, hanging out, having pints, talking about the game, life, everything. It was just such a lovely night. And then to tie it to my second trip, I met up with Rich from Wrexham Bean again, and he drove me out towards the aqueduct and Llangollen, and such a beautiful, stunning place. Oh my God! They say that it's the prettiest village in Wales, and 100% it has to be. Just picturesque views from everywhere in that town. We had a pint at this pub that's right on the river. I can send you some videos and pictures of this, Ran. But just an absolutely stunning place, and so kind. Of Rich to take time. He took time out of his day. He drove me over. He showed me all these spots. We had dinner at his place after, and just so kind, and just such a lovely memory that I have. And when I go back to Wrexham, I fully intend on going back to that village again, and maybe staying there a little bit, and riding they have an old time steam railroad with bunch carriages and stuff, and right up my alley. Would love to do that. They do from Wrexham to or not from Wrexham, but from Llangollen to Corwin, I think. But just absolutely stunning place. Definitely the highlight of my second trip over.
That is awesome. I didn't know there was a steam train. Wow. I'm not sure when I'll be going next. The travel calendar for the rest of this year is looking pretty dire at the moment. We're going to have 2 weddings, and whatever this hypothetical U.S. tour this year is going to look like for Wrexham. So I got to kind of hedge and see what that all ends up being. But ideally, I'd like to go back in the fall again, hopefully for some League One action. But we'll see.
There's a gentleman that I was interacting on Twitter about trains, because do you remember when they had torn the cop down and then the train was going by during the match?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, it's super cool. And then had this little chat with this guy. And he basically he was like, oh, I work at a place that does train stuff. And I thought he meant like a museum. And he's like, no, it's not a museum, but you should come hang out at my work anyways. I'll show you all this train stuff. And I was like, that sounds super cool. So, I didn't know they had a train that you could actually ride, but that sounds like a good day.
Until recently, they had they didn't do it this year because they don't have staff support, and I was crushed. But they did have a program where they would let you drive the steam engine from Llangollen to Corwin, and it was like a full day thing. You had to go into training and stuff, but just incredible. But I'm a train guy. I have actually, they're in the other room, but I have a collection. I used to live in Chicago, and I got a collection of CTA and Amtrak vintage advertising posters that I've got hung up in there. But big train guy.
Chicago Transit Authority for you all out there. We
the L, not the letter, but EL, short for elevated.
Yeah. We took a Amtrak out, not last year, the year before. Me and Anna went out to Chicago, took Amtrak from Phoenix to
sleeper cars.
Yeah, from Flagstaff, a little 2 hours north of us. Yeah, and the sleeper cars, great trip. She comes from a family that loves trains, and I went on for the trip, and it was phenomenal to travel the country that way by rail. It's pretty cool. So I definitely, when you were speaking about doing that in Wales, I'd do that. Yeah.
Yeah. One more comparison between America and Wales and the UK. One thing that really struck me going over, the public transportation system over there is, to us, a marvel. To locals are like, this is shit. Why are you bothering with it? I don't understand. But being able to grab a train basically any time of day and go anywhere is incredible. Oh my goodness. I dream of the day that we can do that in the US, but oh man.
Well, that's that, like Louis C.K. has a bit on it where he gets onto a plane, and this is, back when the technology was just starting, and he gets onto a train, or onto a plane, not expecting the amenity to be there, but they said, oh yeah, by the way, we have free Wi-Fi on the flight. He had no clue, that was even a thing. There's free Wi-Fi on the flight. So he goes on, logs on, he goes go to a website, and then within 5 minutes, it just won't load, and then he just loses his shit about something that he didn't even know existed 5 minutes ago, and now he has it, and he's like, oh, what's the point? Well, I want my money back for the flight. The Wi-Fi's not even working, even though he didn't even know it existed 5 minutes ago. Now he's losing it. Yeah, and that's like akin to if you're over there in the UK and you're like, this is horrible, and we're like, well, it's great you have it. Like, we will take your terrible system any day of the week. We would accept that and have it. But I mean, that kind of goes for all things in life. When the newness wears off of something and that polish and the shine wears away, then you can start to moan and complain about the minutia of it. And what a great thing this season to be able to complain and moan about Wrexham. Where we're at right now in the league. To give us some perspective, Brock, are we in a good place right now? I
would, basically the driver's seat. We are in the auto promotion places. We've got a really favorable schedule for the run in. We finally. February was an absolutely brutal month in terms of away travel and just number of away games. We're through all that now. We've got a couple more home fixtures than we have away fixtures the rest of the way in. It is completely within our hands and should be our expectation that we will be automatically promoted this year at this stage, I think.
And if you had to pick your favorite game of this season or most pivotal, could you narrow it down to one match? Today could be included.
Yeah. For recency bias and my own bias, I was at the Notts County home game.
Ooh.
And, despite what happened, following that, our run of away form, the atmosphere in the ground, like 3 or 4 minutes away, about 3 minutes away from the ref's final whistle. We kind of had thought the game had ended. We thought the referee had blown the whistle, but he hadn't. And so everybody was on their feet, and then the game kept going, and everybody just stayed on their feet and started cheering and screaming. It was just this palpable atmosphere, and it just felt like, oh yeah, we bossed Notts off the pitch this entire match. This is our game. This is our team. We more than belong here. And, dare we say we belong higher. And I just felt like that was kind of a reinforcement of the belief that, yeah, we can do this. My favorite game this season, again, personal bias, but the first game I went to, the Crew game at home, 3-3 with the Stephen Fletcher equalizer at the death. What a game. Oh, man, just a draw that at the time, those two games that I went to on the first trip were Crew home and Mansfield away.
Oh,
and
okay.
At the table right now, Mansfield's first, Crew is fourth, right below us. Those were both draws at the time, and they have gotten better and better with each passing week. And I think that 3-3 against Crew was absolutely massive.
Yeah. And I'll shoot this to you too, SJ. If you had to pick a player of the season, if the season ended today, who do you have?
I got to think that for a second. I will say my favorite match so far was the Barrow game at the race course where Fletcher got his, what did he get, a hat trick? And then Mullen scored.
Hat trick, yeah.
Oh, man, I've rewatched that match probably 4 or 5 different times at least. It's just that so good. And like the first bit of the match was a little rocky, and then just coming back strong, coming back from going into the half, like, ahead out of nowhere. I just I watched that match when, like, there's been a couple of rough patches this last a little bit, and then I'm like, well, I'm gonna watch the Barrow match. Like this, it's great, So especially because I think it's the one they scored right. Yeah, Barrow scored right. So I don't know. I think that for player, I've got a soft spot for Cleworth. I see him developing so much on the pitch from compared to last year. And then this year, I see him develop a long throw. He's really doing really good at clearances and, locking in goal. So I don't know if he's my favorite, like, player, but I definitely am probably following his progress the closest. It's hard to...
I think for my perspective, I've got two answers to this.
Okay.
If we were talking about only the first half of the season, for me, it's Elliot Lee, and it's not close.
Yeah.
He's playing out of his mind for that first stretch. He's been rougher lately. In particular, against Bradford and Sutton. Two of the games that I went to, he was completely anonymous for those matches. I know that he scored in the Sutton game, but he was nowhere for the first 90 of that one. Hopefully today, it gets him back on the right track. But outside of Elliot Lee, I honestly think James McLean has to be up there. I think he's brought so much to the team. His performances have been incredible. His fitness is unreal. He never stops running. His service at times can be brought into question, but this is League Two. And, I think sometimes we might expect too much of some of the players we have, but I think James McLean is a great shout for a player of the year right now.
I totally agree with you're calling out Lee. Like with Mullen out, he just stepped up. Like it was almost a 1-for-1 in performance for having Mullen out and him in. There was some rocky matches in the beginning. We all know that. But he really did his part to help keep our goal difference afloat. And I think Barney, I would say Barney is a player I'd like to call up for like the second half of this. Because, he was out when he... His river dance legwork. He's like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Why is that such an accurate call? Because he has like skinny legs that look like they're like river dance.
Yeah.
What a great call. The visual on that was perfect. If this was an audio only medium, I
think it was a Wrexham fan posted a GIF of it and was like, "It's Barney," and having the
that's a good call. It's a great call.
I think his footing is so precise and but not scattered. Like
what about those shots?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it's so precise when he is like trying to get around a defender and trying to fake him out. And just those, like, he has like almost little micro movements where he's just like when he's right on the ball. Yes, some of those crosses are a little, but when he's doing that intricate footwork, like I don't see very many of our players being able to be that like articulate and precise fight player off for the ball.
Yeah, he's definitely good. He has those moments of brilliance and those flashes of magic that, and this is something, anybody jump in whenever you want, but what if every single player this season that we've seen that has had like the hot foot, the hot hand, and was completely turned on, what if we even had half of them like on fire at the same time?
Yeah.
Because it seems like at any point in time, we have one person or maybe two people that have a great stretch of matches, 2 to 3 matches, but then they kind of fall off. And then there's sometimes nobody had a good match, but then we have a couple of people that showed up again. I mean, what if we were just in sync, not even 100% of us, but half of the team was on?
Yeah.
Like, what would we be doing to the league? What would we be doing?
We'd be smashing the league.
It's I think it speaks to the job that Parky's done for squad construction and depth, that we are allowed to have these players go through these rough patches, but still, even though the last couple of weeks we have been complaining, and there people have been grumbling more and more about certain aspects of the team or the game, but even you take that and you apply it to the past 30 matches that we've had, and the fact that the standards of the team have still been kept so high, and that we have been right there the entire time. I don't know that we've fallen out of the playoff places, after the first month or so of the season. I don't think that just having the depth and character in the squad that we've got allows us to, endure these patches. And, luckily or whatever it might be for us, when we have a rough patch, the other teams in the table are having rough patches too. And, it speaks, teams need to win ugly, and they need to win at the right time. And we've been doing that the entire season so far. So yeah. I'm very confident going into these last sets of matches here.
In kind of a bit of recency bias, if we were to reverse the clock into last season, any one of these stretches, we would have, it would have been automatic. Over. Yeah. It's gone. Yeah. And that recency, it still sits there. So when we do lose points, miss out on going top of the league, we still have that fear in us that we can't stop, like that evolutionary fear when we see a shadow over our heads and we're like, is that a bird about to a talon gonna claw us? Like, we still flinch, that's still there. We don't have our boogeyman. We don't have our Notts County zone that we can put all of our negative energy into this season.
Yeah. And it's not even, it's just the differences between the National League and League Two are, I think that maybe, and definitely myself included in this, I was always of the impression that the top quarter of the National League is better quality than the bottom half, I would have said, of League Two. And now, having been here for a season, just because of the bottleneck at the bottom, only 2 go down, 2 go up. And at the top of the table, 4 go up from League Two. There's a lot of opportunity for teams to just kind of hover above the drop and kind of coalesce a lower quality towards the bottom of the table. But after playing in this league for this season, it's clear that up and down the table, there's quality in every side, and, any team can win against anybody every week. But just the 2 to 4 teams is not a massive leap, right? 2 teams going up versus 4 teams going up. It doesn't, on paper, it does not read as that much. I feel so much freer and it's so much easier to breathe this year, knowing that you do not have to go into the playoffs if you don't finish first. It's because the playoffs is truly just a coin flip every single game. But, this year we don't have to be the best team. We don't have to be the second best team. We just have to be the third best team, and we will automatically go into the next league. It's such a revelation. And, I hope that they continue to carry through with this, but if they truly get the National League and League Two to agree to go 3 up, 3 down, I think that'll help the quality in League Two a lot, but it's also going to help a lot of teams in the National League feel like they can actually climb and get out of there.
Go ahead, SJ.
Oh, I was just going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but once this season, once Wrexham got into playoff position on the table and then into automatic promotion, I don't think we've ever dropped out of playoff or automatic promotion since we've got up here. Right. And, you know, last season there was a lot of talk about how strong and how rough League Two is, but I also did hear kind of an equal amount of, well, of course we're going to get promoted. Which, I'm like, okay, I don't want to, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like, once you get up there and then you're within 7 teams, there's so much more breathing room to be able to process. Maybe a bad result, but we can get back on our feet this way. And you're not just, it's not just trying to recalibrate every single match to get every single point, which, we want to get. But if there's some rough patch where it's a couple of rough games, which we've had. I think that there's the ability to take a chance more to kind of play with, the starting lineups and, all that good jazz. There's less of a fear or failure of dropping out because there is that, those are automatic. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Trying to be hopeful.
And you guys bring up good points. So at the end of last season, going into this season, there was a number of people, I can't say what the percentage was of people, but there was a number of people that looked at us walking through this league. But there was also an assumption that we would have walked through the league without changing any of our lineup, that the team that we had in National League, and now this isn't a majority of people, there were just some voices out there that were saying that they might feel vindicated sitting in an automatic promotion spot, but we definitely had to make changes to be in the position that we're at right now.
Yeah. And I think that, it's clear though in defense of those who said that we should walk this league, there is no doubt that the team that we had assembled in the National League was a team that was built to get promoted to League One. Mm-hmm. And the core of the team is there from that National League season, or from the National League seasons. But going into League Two this year and pulling the signings that we did in key spots, specifically, I think McLean and Fletcher are the two prime examples of pulling in players who have played in that upper tier, but have done it more recently than the players that we had got to come down when we were still in the National League. Like Paul Mullen was a League Two, League One footballer, but we got him to come down, but that was 2 seasons ago. So pulling in more players who have been up there more recently and are more acclimated to the speed, the physicality, just helped us so much. And, we're not in the position that we are without those signings. There's no doubt.
Know what the cutoff date is. I heard March 5th for, for our official 22 roster, that we have one spot available still. And that was trying to account for some injuries. I think it's March 5th is the cutoff date to bring in player in, like we did Fletcher last year. So I like that approach. I'm curious as who might come in and fill in that need somewhere. But do you know what the date is about that?
I do not know what the deadline date is for the final registration.
I heard March 3rd. You're saying March 5th, but I haven't confirmed either or.
Yeah.
March. That would surprise me if it's that close, because I haven't heard anything about us trying to get somebody in to replace Ford.
Well, the 3rd is Sunday and the 5th is Tuesday, so.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if we don't bring somebody in, because it sounds like Evans is a long ways away, and I haven't heard anything positive about Ford. So,
man, I forgot about Evans. How did I? What a jerk!
Gorgeous George. Oh my God, what a player! My goodness,
Gorgeous George now. But if you look at some of his older photos, he found his style within hair and beard.
That's why I'm saying, Will Boyle could be the next one.
He could.
We just need to find the right look for him.
Yeah, gorgeous Boyle.
Yeah.
Beautiful Boyle. With
Beautiful Boyle.
Beautiful Boyle.
He's got a soul patch and some chops.
He's got a toupee on. He went to Turkey like Mark from Mark White, the owner. What is it? Not Doncaster Rovers.
The guy
Mark
that swears
White,
a lot.
Dorking Wanderers.
Dorking Wanderers, yeah. With his him and his coaching staff. I guess he went to Turkey, and then 1 or 2 in his coaching staff also went to Turkey for the hair transplants. So, we don't, over here in the U.S., we don't have that, return flight of everybody coming back from Turkey with the redheads. But
it's less likely to be noticed if you're not the only person sticking out with it. You're like, this is normal.
That's because you're the flight attendant. Yeah. Well, looking to the future a little bit, and don't feel any pressure to lock in anything specific. But is there anything that we need to do differently that is going to secure us that promotion this year? Or can we just kind of like do what we've been doing, and we're going to make it.
We need to go to 4 at the back on the road from the start of the game.
Ooh. Parky, if you're listening.
Phil Parkinson, go to 4 at the back on the road from the start of the game.
Trying to hypnotize?
That is literally the only...
Like, is that speaking from above?
Literally the only change. I think, whatever we're doing at home is fine. Keep it. We are the team that we are at the race course. The road is a completely different story for whatever reason. I think part of it is that teams are at us from the first minute. They are, it's physical. They are slowing the game down. They don't let us build momentum. Just go to 4 at the back. It makes us less exploitable, and it gives us a chance to do that build-up play that we ideally like to do and not resort to hoofing it over the top as often as we seem to do and as early as we seem to do it on the road. So that's genuinely the only thing that I would love to see change. Parky is a much better manager than I am, so I will leave it in his capable hands. But as a casual observer, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could Field of Dreams Parkinson, and we could have that voice of God just echo into him throughout the season where he doesn't know where it's coming from. But, if you put 4 in the back.
If you put 4 at the back, we will win.
We will win. Yeah. Sorry, SJ, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just that I felt like watching the match today. I did feel like we had fewer, lobs down the pitch. They seem like maybe a little more precise, where in the past, I'm like, who are you kicking to? Like, I don't even know. I mean, camera work sometimes. We love the camera work, how we don't even know if there's players because cut the pitch off. But yeah, there's been so many just kind of like, I almost want to say like loose balls chucked down the pitch. And then, but
Conquo's distribution from goal kicks has been like a massive issue this season.
Yeah,
honestly. He's an incredible goalkeeper, and we need to pay him whatever he wants. But it's issues like that. Exactly what you're talking about is it's a chance for us to retain possession. We just hoof it.
And then also the headers. It drives me crazy when everybody's like, "Oh, I'm like, how much?" Okay, I know people score from headers, but how much? We got like 6-8 people fighting for headers in the middle of the pitch. I'm like, how precise are you that you're going to get somebody that can just like drop it down and get it on the floor that quickly?
You would be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I mean, I've seen it.
There's a lot of
overall,
skill, and the people that can do it are the ones, that
Fletcher,
continue up
I've
that
seen
ladder.
Fletcher do it quite a bit, and that's really nice. But yeah, I don't know. I get frustrated at like really long spells. And I'm talking like, 5, 10, 15 header, where everybody's just...
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, get it to somebody.
I'm on the other side. Like when those start going, it's exciting. It's like a rally that's going. It's like, hey, yay. But I don't know if it's from me playing. I don't know, Brock, from you playing or something. It's like there's an appreciation for somebody who can play a good header.
Yeah, and part of it is also like ideally you take it on the chest and take it down to the ground. The issue is the other guy is trying to get to the ball too, and the head is higher up than the chest or the leg, and so part of that is just trying to keep the ball or to head the ball into a position where you've got a teammate, and hopefully that teammate does not have a guy as close to him, and then the teammate can take that chance. But when you tie it in with the issues that we've had with distribution from the back, it gets very frustrating because you know how it's going to play out before they even do it, which is, to your point, Sarah, ball gets hoofed up, 1 or 2 headers go in the air, other team ends up with a ball, we go again.
Yeah.
I think Mark put a clip up. I want to say, I saw a clip of this guy who is like years ago, but he had this thing that he would do, that he would get a header and then just basically run like you would dribble in basketball. He would run just like heading it down the pitch and then try to get past people. And then, of course, then my brain goes to absurd land and I'm like, does it count? Like, who walks on their hands? You can like speed walk on your hands and just keep the ball up there with their feet. I mean, that's
those guys
totally
get hurt is what happens.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I know.
Well, it's taken as massively disrespectful. And so if it's kind of like showboating. If you're going to do that, and you're going to do it. It's like, well, you better be ready for a tough.
You're going to get a 2-footed studs up tackle.
Yeah.
A proper Brexit tackle, as they call it.
Yeah. But yeah, just those long ball lobs combined with the head tennis. And I don't know. I just like to see a little more precision, or like, what's it called? Like, is it second touch when like, you know, like you get possession and then the ball goes to the second person, your next pass. Is that what it is? Second touch?
You could call it second touch. I mean, second touch generally, as I would see it, is, you know, you receive the ball in and then, like, you know, off of your chest or whatever, and then what you're doing with that second touch, immediately that second touch. So
it's usually the same player.
Gotcha.
Same player with their second touch, because, you know, first touch passing is ball comes into you and you are already, with one touch, you're passing it to the next guy.
Gotcha.
And well, I have one last thing about the game today, and then
bring it.
I've had awful sleep the last couple of nights. I was in bed listening to the game this morning, which is why I wasn't as active on the hashtag as I would be normally. And Jacob Mendy had in that passage of play where Mullen got his hat trick, him coming up the wing a couple of times, he buried that guy who was guarding against him. He did the same move 2 times and got almost identical results, where he went left, right, back to left, and then into the center of the box. Just absolutely masterclass from him today.
Yeah, I feel bad for that guy, because when he gets home, the house is going to be packed up. There's going to be no note, you know, like she or he has left with the kids, and he will never know. It's going to be a mystery for him for the rest of his life, why people that were close to him refuse to talk to him anymore. And that's your fault, Mindy. You did that, sir. You embarrassed this grown man in front of an audience.
Is that
How
Pickle?
dare you?
I love some of these players' names. One of the players, his last name
it was Pickle and Gubbins.
Yeah, but and then Neil made a joke about somebody, Wrexham player, like kicked a ball past him, and then Neil was like, "That's a sliced pickle." It was like, "Oh, yeah, it's cheesy jokes." Yeah,
I love them. You can't go wrong with some good stuff like that. I mean, when we're winning, I embrace all of the silliness. And then obviously, you know, like when you were talking about headers or any other plays that people do that are, you know, like distribution plays, when we're getting the win, we're like, yeah, we could work on that. And, you know, that will help us dominate even more. But when we're losing, it's like, hey, come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is there's a game that we could be playing that could be better. And the one last talk about the match. I know, Brock, you had your last moments, but okay, you take Paul Mullen out of the equation from man of the match today. Who would be the possible second, or multiple people?
No, I mean, I partly judge it on like when I'm listening to the commentary, how frequently I hear a certain player's name. Generally, sometimes it's like they're screwing up, but it's not really that often. That could be a bad thing. I know, but in general, it seems to be a real positive. And Cleworth had some great saves today. Again, I'm like biased. What's going on with him?
I would go with Lee. I think Lee.
Okay.
He had an assist on one of Mullins. He had the goal himself. He was creating chances. His passes were really good today. If it wasn't slam dunk Mullen, I think I'd go Lee.
So is this a question of, if Mullen is doing Mullen things, then the rest of the guys get to do their thing too? Is that possibly like one of the pieces we missed, is the efficiency, the attack, and the clinical finish of Mullen that frees up other people to be able to do their roles and things like that?
Yeah, because I think part of the issue is, you know, Mullen gets smothered in the games from a defensive perspective especially early on in the games, because people know what he's capable of. But once he gets loose and I say he gets smothered, but what that leads to is after that he has been neutralized for a while, the coverage on him starts to loosen up as they focus on people who we're trying to work the ball to because Mullins so overcrowded. But once Mullins starts getting in, they kind of overreact and they go, oh no, we have to cover this guy, and then everybody else gets a lot more room to work.
Yeah.
And
Palmer today.
I think that's absolutely part of it.
Yeah, I
Palmer,
do like
Palmer.
Yeah, I like seeing Palmer and Mullen. We talk about getting service to Mullen. Palmer's a great distraction / interference to kind of help Mullen get that space. I feel like
Parkey said when he signed him, he does the donkey work.
Yeah, and I think seeing them together last season, there seemed to be a lot of people saying the plan is to get the ball to Mullen. And I think with him out at the beginning of the season, there wasn't a consistency in the idea of play. So it kind of got set up for we're going to get the ball to Lee. And that's where I see, Lee being slotted in for that Mullen role. But as the season kind of moved and Mullen started coming back in, it seemed more I don't know. It was harder for me to pick out a consistent form of attack that was easier to see last season. And I am really bad. I understand the distribution of, the 5-3-2 player where people are supposed to stand. But it's so hard for me to see plays in motion. I talked about this before. I know they're practicing some kind of maneuver in practice, but when I'm watching the match, I'm like, somebody's chasing the ball. They're trying to,
it's a lot easier in basketball or football because, the entire formation is on the screen at all times. But I say football, American football, but in, football, you're only seeing a third of the field at any given time. So there's only, 3 or 4 or 5 players on the screen that you can recognize that are trying to maintain a shape or do something with their possession. So
yeah, I just I think I just saw a clear pattern last season, and I'm having a hard time picking up or seeing a pattern that's repetitive enough that I'm like, oh, I recognize they're trying to funnel the ball to Mullen constantly, and this person's running an interference.
And I think part of that is that, it makes it harder because funneling the ball to Mullen is a very easy thing to observe. You know what I mean? It's very clear that that's what's happening. Whereas that's your words, but it's the stuff that we're doing this year is a little bit, not higher brow, for the thinking man's game. Emphasis on man's, but but no, it's just we're trying to do more complicated stuff, and it makes it harder to observe when it's going well, but it makes it a lot easier to say, why are we doing this? It's not working.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to say, what does working look like if we're not scoring goals?
Yeah. And I'm a tactile learner. So for me to really get a clear understanding of how things work, I want to participate in that, but I'm also not athletic at all. So there's no way for me to get, I don't even know enough people that care about football to get them okay, we're going to line up and, play human chess or whatever. There's no opportunity for me to be able to
in Portland, right? You could go play an adult league in Portland.
I need to be like Kramer in Seinfeld when he's trying to learn karate and go to the
U6s.
The youth 6 matches and be like, okay, and then they would probably still be outplaying me.
I'm going to give you guys a current run of form for a team, and I need you guys to guess who this form is. So they won today. They drew their last match. They lost the match previous to that. They drew the match previous to that, and then they won the match previous to that. So it was win, draw, loss, draw, win.
Backwards or forwards?
Both ways. It's
it's the same both ways.
So win, draw, loss.
Yeah. Win, draw, loss in the middle. Yeah.
I'm just stalling because I have no idea.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that you're trying to make a great segue, and that it is our friends Morecambe.
You might be right, but it's also us.
Oh.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yes. So
do you have the form table in front of you? Can you tell me if I was right?
You are correct. You are exactly correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, is it both?
Yes.
Both of this?
It is both. So both of us have the same recent form, of course, against different competitors. Segueing moving into the match that we have on March 9th, which will be at Mazuma Stadium. We will be facing, what was the name, SJ?
Morecambe?
Hey,
yeah!
Yes.
I remember that one.
Yes.
Yeah, word association. I gotta,
Yeah, you got it. So they're coming. We're coming off a great win. They took a win today. Brock, how did they win?
They won on an own goal, I think, in the 85th minute against none other than Crew, which is a massive win for them.
Yeah. Okay, so how are we feeling going into our March 9th match against Morecambe? Similar recent form, and they pulled a late winner. Well, I guess Crew pulled a late loser against themselves. But they took the 3 points away, so some momentum going their way.
So I'm just looking at the footy stats right now. So for Forest Green Rovers, I know they're down at the bottom of the table, but the thing that really struck me was that our goals per match for them at home versus our away was both 0.88. So even though where we're at on the table implies an uneven game in our favor, goals per match was a toss-up. So so that's what I was kind of trying to pull that up here for.
I'll give you a different one. Do you know what the score was the last time that we played Morecambe?
Something against something. Somebody won.
Correct. It was something against something.
Was it 2-1?
It was 6-0.
Oh shit.
Oh. Yeah.
Dang.
We buried these guys. At home.
In our favor?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, I think Mullen had a hat trick as well, I want to say.
Wow. I am not recalling this game.
We absolutely crushed them. I think it was in November. I think Morecambe since then has been on a much better run of form. They're just outside the playoff places. It's not a team that you can overlook, and we are just a different team on the road than we are at home. But just going off of that, I feel, and going off of today's performance, I think that's going to really lift the team. They needed a win like they got today to kind of put them on the right foot going forward. So I'm hoping, or I'm feeling a comfortable win on the road. Not like a 6-0, but maybe like a 2-1 or something.
So for stats on that, because that's what I want too. But when I'm looking at goals conceded, because it's Morecambe at home and then for us away, Morecambe have conceded 1 per match and at home, and we've conceded 1.28 away. So I don't like that. And then let's see. I had the points per match here. Let's see. Points per match for Morecambe at home is 1.58, and points per match for Wrexham away is 1.2. So I know that that's very limited, short-sighted information, and as a new fan, I don't really know how to put stats together. And Mark has said in the past, there's really, when it comes to football, the goals are only thing that really matter. But I'm kind of the way I learn is I look down. So I know I'm leaving a lot of information out when I just pick out, Rand, you've said cherry pick stuff. Well, I'm picking cherries and saying points home and away versus goals home and away. Don't like it. But I think coming off our win today. Mullen hat trick. Oh, so yeah, I like
He's
it
back.
when. Yeah,
He's back. He's back.
Yeah. I see his
He's back. We're never losing again.
His cape is flying. So, yeah. So, I'm hoping that we do one of those things where, we had a little loss and then came roaring back and we're like, nope, we're fixing this and we're going to overcorrect and start winning everything. So that's what I want.
Yeah. Well, with that, anybody feeling up to predictions? I heard maybe a 2-1 from Brock.
Yeah, I'm going to reinforce that. I'm going to go 2-1 Wrexham.
Okay.
I'm going to go. Let's see who. I'm going to go Fletcher and Mullen.
Fletcher. Okay. Fletcher getting back in the mix. Okay. Yeah.
I will say I'm going to say 2-0. I usually default to 3-0, but I don't like these stats. I'm going to say 2-0 because confidence in the keeper, Okonkwo, clean sheets. I love the clean sheets. But I will take any win with any score and no injuries. That's my new. Yeah. I'm not going to try to guess who's going to score.
What are you running for office? What is it?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
I want only the good things and none of the bad things.
I know. Yeah, totally. The office for the least informed. That will be my. My
if your
position.
wizard hat is still on, SJ, earlier today during the match, I believe it was after Mullen had scored his first, in our chat, Wayne called, what a brace. Are we going to see a brace for Mullen today within minutes? And you're like, well, what about a hat trick for Mullen? And then it was within minutes of that. So SJ, we need some of your psychic friend's power. Reach into that bag that you had today, and what's our position that we're going to finish the league in?
Oh, that's a strong question.
Oh, okay. Well, let me walk it back. I won't give you such a hard question. When will we get to the Premier League?
I mean, that's like 3 leagues away from us, right?
No, but okay. End of this season.
2.5 years. 2.5 years. 3 leagues away. 2.5 years. We'll be right in there. Yeah, on top of Arsenal and Man City and Liverpool. Well, yeah, we're just gonna blend like cards at a casino.
I hope that's true. How about our end of season? Because I just want to grab a clip because you were so on the money today. This is like buying that lottery card. Like what position are we finishing in at the end of the season?
Well, right now we're tied for second, but then on goal difference is where our goal difference is what's holding us back. So let's see. Tied with Stockport, but then their goal difference, ours is 19 and theirs is 29. Man, if we can keep those goals coming in, I want to say second. Stockport still have a game in hand, and Mansfield. So, their goal difference. Man, Mansfield, when they got that 9-1 a couple of matches ago, I was just skyrocketed their goal difference. So,
funny that happens.
I know. But
when you almost scored 10 more than a team, it's crazy.
I know. But I think it'll be pretty easy for us to get 10 more goals up our goal difference for 10 by the end of the season. So, I'm going to say second on goal difference.
Who do we have here?
It's Tamale.
Oh.
Hey.
Say hi to the people.
Hello, cutie pie.
Wow. Where's the food? Tamale, you know that.
Yes. Oh, does it? So this would be our 4th cat on the pod, maybe? Is it? Because
Bill,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember.
There was Bill, of course, Mark.
Yeah. Bill and Mark.
Bill and Mark. There's a third, and I can't remember whose cat it was, and they jumped up. We'll find it.
Tommy Kaus?
No.
He got donuts. That was his thing.
He got donuts. Yeah. I'll try to find it because somebody will know. So this leads us to wrapping this up, and I don't know if that's the perfect emoji.
It is. That's what I was just thinking.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well, Go for it, SJ. What do they got to do?
Tamale, we got to do the orange cat emoji because there's the black cat.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the tamale because there's a tamale emoji, isn't there?
There's a tamale emoji.
There's a tamale emoji.
Yeah, is there? Or is it a burrito? I thought it was.
No, I think there is a tamale one.
I believe so.
That's good because tamales are definitely higher in the league than burritos.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say they're definitely different. I was like,
No. I mean, they both have stuff.
I consider myself kind of an expert on Latin culture, and I will say that tamales and burrito different.
Yeah. By,
that's one of the worst things.
All identity, I'll confirm with you.
When I lived in California, oh man, like all the like actual more authentic like Mexican food, and then come up to Oregon and I'm like, oh yeah, I mean they're trying, but there's a lot of white people in the kitchen. It's not doing anybody any favors.
My mom and my sisters try to either Thanksgiving and Christmas or one of those do the handmade homemade masa and tamale every year. It's just like in Hispanic culture or at least Mexican culture, that's like a Christmas thing that you're going to have. And if you don't have it, it's like not having like a Christmas ham or something, or not having stuffing at Thanksgiving, something like that.
It makes perfect sense, right? Because tamales come in their own little present wrapping.
Yes.
It's a tamale gift.
All right. Well, we will wrap that up here. Everybody knows what they need to do. Throw in that tamale emoji. If you made it to the final fivers, if there's only final four, we might have lost a few in the battle. Not sure. Brock, thanks so much for coming on. Finally getting you on the pod. Although we've spoke before, finally got the pod episode. And to be continued. We'll have the visiting Wrexham 101 that I'll try to put together as best with Brock and SJ of things that you can do to get there while you're there, get you prepared and squared away. Anything else before we sign out of here that anybody needs to know?
Just thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm on Twitter. You can find me at Spitball Idea, and just again, thanks for having me on. I had a great time. This is awesome.
And
thank you, Brock.
Yeah, and then Teach Me. It's Teach Me WXM pod for the pod on Twitter, and also you can like and subscribe and watch this video.
And you know what we have to do?
Up the town.
All right, thanks, guys.